Books and Jason Connell, a sequel to Ghost of Tsushima, set several years after the events of the latter. We follow the story of the mercenary Atsu who seeks revenge against the GOTY 6, who wipe out her family. It boasts stunning, immersive graphics and unique Hokkaido setting, an open world that is a significant step forward from the original, a deeper, more complex and varied combat system, with new elements such as more weapons and a focus on timing, an engaging sense of progression. We told an emotional revenge story. The protagonist Atsu is central figure and her story connects with sensitive themes and more human characters. An excellent soundtrack with Atsu's amazing, creating a unique atmosphere that shifts from melancholic to energetic. Side quests are considered a strong point, with more standout missions that enhance the overall experience, but for some it's a sequel that refines a familiar formula. Ghost of Tsushima and other open-world games, which might diminish its impact compared to games that innovate more radically. Some players perceive the damage to defense balance as unfair. They feel Atsu is too fragile and enemies have too much health on higher difficulties. Certain reviews suggest a design that sometimes feels like a simple check-off to-do list, a common trait in the genre. While the story's direction is prized, some users find the plot and characters a significant drop in quality compared to the previous game. And let's not forget that it didn't sell as its predecessor, and the controversy surrounding the lead actress. It's going to be nominated, I think, but it's a toss-up for the top prize. Next is Death Stranding 2 on the beach.
You have it. We all know you've got this.
Developed by Kojima Productions and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment. Directed, produced, written and designed by Hideo Kojima. This is the sequel to Death Stranding, where we pick up the story of Sam Porter Bridges, months after the previous events, but now in Australia, a freelance caretaker who seeks to connect the world through a wireless connection before humanity falls into the expanse. It surpasses the original release, masterfully directed, acted, and constructed cinematics that evoke strong emotions. The production values are blockbuster quality, a vast and beautifully designed map inspired by new locations like Australia and Mexico, transforms into a colossal sandbox of gameplay, featuring challenging and ever-changing terrain, snow, avalanches, extreme conditions. The gameplay has been improved and feels more complete. New survival tools and a massive arsenal are introduced, offering a great flexibility in the action and following the player to choose between stealth, direct action, or meticulous planning. The Decima engine shines in rendering colossal environments and the detail of facial expressions. The game is a visual landmark, the story and supporting characters are a strong point with interesting backstories. The plot once again raises profound questions about humanity. And let's not forget his friendship with Doritos Pope. But it remains a divisive works. Kojima's narrative includes extremely bizarre and excessively strange moments that may unsettle or alienate a wider audience, not to mention the length, which has been a recurring complaint since the previous game. The main story is slow to get going. Much of the important narrative content is concentrated in the final stretch, demanding a significant time to commitment from the player. For some critics, the game repeats the same gameplay and narrative structure as the first, sometimes feeling like a giant director's cut. Unlike the first game, some feel the meta message about art and connection is not as subtle, with certain characters analyzing the story as we play it, which came across as detached and redundant. Nominated for sure. Winning, well, depends on whether the voters favor spectacle or consensus. Next is Donkey Kong Bonanza, developed by Nintendo EPD and published by Nintendo, directed by Wataru Tanaka and Kazuya Takanashi. Nintendo's iconic gorilla has adventured with Pauline to the planet's core. Yes, Nintendo games stories aren't like the last Zelda's games. The ability to demolish almost the entire environment isn't just a gimmick, but the heart of the gameplay, puzzle solving and secret hunting, a game that never ceases to amaze. The multiple transformations, bonanzas like the elephant or the zebra offer unique abilities to keep the gameplay varied throughout the entire adventure. Impeccable controls and design that prioritizes fun and creativity. It's a game that will make you smile from beginning to end. Audiovisually flawless, beautiful, colorful, and charismatic graphics, with a fantastic soundtrack that evokes nostalgia and energy. The post-game challenges are considered extremely difficult, satisfying players looking for a high level of challenge. But it's considered the team's weak point. Boss fights are often short and repetitive, sometimes feels like a mere afterthought, though they improve slightly towards the end. The story is considered weak or minimal, as is typical for the genre, and the basic enemies aren't used to their full potential, often feeling like filler. In a 3D platformer with destructible environments, there are occasional camera issues that can hinder the action or the accuracy of certain jumps. Despite its high quality, platformers sometimes struggle to win the Top Game of the Year award, which tends to favor RPGs, action-adventure games, or immersive titles with more dramatic narratives. Some analysts suggest it might be nominated just to go through the motions before winning the Best Family Game award. Could even sneak a win if sentiment favors pure fun. And let's not forget the DLC that came out shortly after the game was released. Honestly, I haven't played it and I don't plan to buy it. How little it offers with the price given.
I'll be this.
Hades 2. Developed and published by Supergiant Games, directed by Greg Kassevan, a sequel to... Too many sequels. Now we see Melinoe, the sister of Zagreus, the protagonist of the first game. She seeks to rescue him and her father Hades from the Titan of Time, Kronos. I want to add, in my opinion, Hades should have won over The Last of Us Part 2 in 2020. It surpasses the original. The story is deep and moving. Melinoe, I really don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, is a captivating protagonist, and the interactions with the expanded cast of gods and characters from Greek mythology and sorcery are a delight. The game is incredibly addictive. The dying, upgrading, the trying again loop is perfect. Each run feels meaningful due to the sheer number of permanent upgrades, arcane and resources to unlock. Visually stunning with a unique hand-drawn art style. The soundtrack is epic, emotive, and perfectly integrated with the action. The introduction of new areas, including the overworld and the new Titan gods, Kronos, Hecate, Apollo, makes the game world feel much larger and more ambitious. But for some players, Hades is more difficult than the first, especially at the beginning. The introduction of more projectiles and more complex enemies along with different combat style for Melinoe may require a longer adjustment period. Although improved, it's undeniably a sequel that refines the formula. For those looking for a radical environment of the genre, it might feel familiar, though critics know that it's a monumental improvement. In certain moments of on-screen chaos, especially with Hades 2, slightly wide perspective, it can be a little difficult to distinguish certain enemies' attacks or projectiles. As a good roguelite, the story and revelations unfold slowly across thousands of playthroughs. The player must commit for many hours to see the complete narrative arc. And without giving any spoilers, let's just say the ending left a lot to be discussed. Very likely nominated, hardcore critical support, could push it hard on GOTY conversations. Here's the meme that finally died. Hollow Knight Silksong, developed and published by Team Cherry, directed by Ari Gibson and William Pellen. Yet another sequel. Following the events of the first game, the former Princess Protector Hornet is captured and escapes back into an unknown area, originally planned as a DLC. After 7 years, it obviously had to become a full game. It surpasses the previous game, faster and smoother than ever. Hornet feels more lethal and agile. The new Blaze Sense and tool system offers much build customization than the shards in the original game. Massive and very vertical world. Exploration is rewarding with a large number of secret areas. The new side question system Hunt Gather categories adds a structure without sacrificing freedom. Visually richer and more detailed, animations and particle effects are improved. The soundtrack is a melancholic masterpiece that reinforces the unique atmosphere. It features over 40 unique bosses and a huge variety of enemies, over 200, guaranteeing dozens of hours of content and challenges. It maintains team share scripted, lore-driven style but is prized for being more explicit and literary in some key moments. Let's not forget how they broke several sell sites like Steam with price so low that it made a mockery of the AAA industry. They took so long because they were having so much fun making it. I wish I have these problems. It's noticeably more difficult from the start than its predecessor. And for many, that's not necessarily encouraging or appealing to play it or even try it. Many players, even Hollow Knight veterans, find the punishment for mistakes too high. Enemies that take away 2 or even more hit points. And that the journey back to the boss can be tedious. For those unfamiliar with the genre or the original, Silksong is essentially a 2D Metroidvania that refines a formula which might make it less appealing compared to the games that innovate its more mainstream genres. Like Death Stranding 2, though I still believe Metroidvanias need more recognition. There are occasional difficulty spikes and annoying flying enemies that can frustrate some players, making it feel exhausting. Although they are being fixed, some minor technical bugs and translation issues in certain languages mar the launch experience. Most likely nominated and will demonstrate the superiority of the indie and AA games, just like the next potential nominee. And finally, I think no one doubts this nomination.
I'm just kidding, it's Dr. Michael Morbius at your...
We,
Claire Obscure,
Expedition 33.
developed by Soundfall Interactive and published by Kepler Interactive, directed by Guillaume Broche. More than anything, what stands out in terms of gameplay is how it brought back the turn-based combat mechanic, heavily inspired by Japanese RPGs like Final Fantasy used to do. The pairing and timing system is the crown jewel, offering both strategy and action. Although the pairing can get quite broken, to be honest. The character skill and build design is deep and customizable, a strong and elegant visual identity inspired by the Belle Epoque. The voice acting and music enhance every scene and dialogue with great emotion. The world is vast and ambitious, and exploration rewards players who venture off the beaten path. With plenty of secrets and upgrades to discover, the expedition team members have dynamic relationships and interesting narrative arcs that draw you into the mission. The music, especially the combat themes, is varied and powerful, elevating the action at key moments. I absolutely love the music. Developed by a small studio, Soundfall interacted with a team with approximately 30 people. Its success for over 3 million copies sold in its overall quality are perceived as a triumph of uncompromising creative vision over a large budget, something the Game Awards sometimes seeks to reward. Even so, the deliberate absence of a minimap or constant markers while enhancing immersion can lead to disorientation and frustration for some players. The story, while captivating, often avoids providing answers for much of the game, which can cause interest to wane at certain points. Pairing is key, but its timing window is very tight, around 0.15 seconds around higher difficulties, making the game incredibly difficult until mastered, or punishing players who prefer to simply dodge. When is it my turn? I still maintain it's broken. Some critics have pointed out that the user interface design can be visually confusing, with too much information or the lack of clear hierarchy in the menus. I say certainly nominated. Yes, It has a very good chance to be one of the main contenders, let's be honest. And right now I'm betting it will win. Quick summary: Clair Obscur and Hades 2 have critic love, Donkey Kong has sales, Silk Song has a cult momentum, Ghost of GOTY has art and vibe, Death Stranding 2 has a spectacle, Dark Horses live on risk and narrative novelty. That's my GOTY predictions list for 2025. Agree? Hate it? Furious? Perfect. Write it all your predictions below. Subscribe and I will come back when they announce the nominees and to see if I should buy a clown wig and predict who will win. See ya!